Unalive my mother. Subscribe and hit the like button.
But we're gonna get into the video. And as I sit down and think about it, I haven't even accepted my mama's passing on some real shit. But we're gonna get into the video. Mama died February 9th, 2021. Mama went into the hospital the first week of February. I remember being at my mama's house and, we had all asked her, like, Mom, do you want to go to the hospital? She had this cough. My mama found every alternative it was before she went to see her doctor. She hated them. Like, she always said, if anything ever happened to me to the point where I cannot speak for myself in the hospital, don't ever let them take nothing from me, cut on me. Those are always been her rules. So, the first week of February, I remember being on mama's house. My mom was on the phone with my sister. And she was just like, so, ain't none of your kids took you to the hospital? Said some little slick flop of all that shit. Knowing everybody didn't offer to take mama to the hospital, sit with her and some more shit. Like, but this fat bitch always got to insert herself and make it seem like she just bigger than everybody in a, like, girl. Yo, so she was like, I'm coming down there and I'm taking you to the hospital since you want to be hard-headed, blase, blase. Like, the whole move from the city, but found every reason to come back to the city, G, like, that makes no sense to me. She always been where she family was. So, she get down here. I remember when she came, she tried to speak, but, bitch, me and you really not cool. Like, we ain't really know how no bond, because, bitch, as I was growing up, you just asked besides the point. Fuck that hoe. So, I'm like, she was like, I love you, Fatty Patty. That's my nickname. So, I'm like, love you, mama. Mind you, my son said, love you, Granny. And we not thinking too much about it because I know I'm going to see my mama again. Like, fuck is you talking about? She always, when she goes to the hospital, she always come home. My mama done beat cancer twice, had lung problems, heart problems, COPD, sciatica nerves, and some more shit. But when I say my mama is a motherfucking fighter, she a fighter, G. And I know people get tired, but listen to what the fuck I got to say. Tell me if I'm wrong or not. So, she's in a hospital, you feel me? She's cool, we chopping up, we on FaceTime, make sure she's okay. I did not go see my mama because I had work and I had my son. My son was not in school at the time. So, at this point, it's like, my daddy up there with her. Every time he get off work, he going up there, he staying with her, leaving from the hospital to go to work. So, I know mama's cool, she's straight. The last day I talked to my mama, she was eating sauerkraut and some other shit. And I'm just like, mama, you nasty. Sausages. I'm like, mama, you nasty. She was like, girl, I've been craving this. I love this. Okay? She was like, when I get to the hospital, I'm gonna have you put my wig on. My mom was fucked up about the color blonde with like that dark tone root. She loved it. I don't know what it was, but she loved it. And she was gonna get my other sister to do her lashes. So at this point, I'm really not too much worried about the hospital because I know that by the month test, they gonna probably say she gonna go keep up her for a little bit. She gonna shake that. She come back home. She did not want to go to the hospital. Like she was making her hot toddy and some more shit. So that last day, I see my mama and my daddy that was eating. The next day, mind you, my sister said she was my mama's POA, power of attorney. She calls the hospital, changes my mama's visitors from my dad, which is her man, for some years, 20 plus, to her bullshit ass daughter. And that's my niece, and I have no problem with her. But the problem was, why the fuck would you make your daughter my mama's permanent or only visitor, knowing that she has 9 other kids outside of you? And let's start with the paperwork was motherfucking expired. Then let's start with your daughter's not worried about my mama. How the fuck you think she is, bitch? So why the fuck would you sit there and remove my dad for your daughter knowing that she not even ready to be up her like that? That shit's crazy to me. That was the 4th or the 5th that shit happened. The 6th, I remember they went into my mama's motherfucking house. My fat ass, nasty, funny, built ass sister, her daughter that she put on the visitation list, and her nasty ass husband. When I say they stole everything from my mama, I mean it. And talking about it, it's pissing me off. And you bitches is gonna see this video. And on my mama's pussy in the real bitch, I don't fuck with y'all. Don't contact me, none of that. When y'all see this, then it's up again. Bitch, I got beef again. Like, talking about this shit really do something to me because, bitch, you really killed my mama. Y'all went to my mama's house and stole everything. From her phones, from her iPads, from her tablets, her motherfucking Apple computers. Shit that you bitches never. My sister really killed my mama. And as I sit down and think about it, I haven't even accepted my mama's passing on some real shit. But we're gonna get into the video. Mama, Dad, February 9th, 2021. Mama went into the hospital the first week of February. I remember being at my mama's house and, you know, I was in the gym, y'all, okay? I've been arguing with family all night since I posted this video. All right? So we gonna get into how they stole everything. Designer shit, motherfuckers done bought her purses, shoes, clothes, electronics, anything, bed sets, table sets. Everybody picked what they wanted. And the rest of my mama's remaining kids got moo-moos, pillowcases, a few babbles, some missing lady and said shit laying around her house. And you know what she did with the rest of that shit? Everything designer, everything that held a valuable dollar, she sold that shit on an SD account after my mama's burial. She made an SD account and stole everything out of my mama's motherfucking house. And sold her shit and didn't even break her stuff down that motherfuckers really wanted to keep of our mothers. She's greedy. Okay? They stole everything. I still can't get in contact with my mom. I'm calling the hospital. They took my niggas out the visitor list. Every time I call the hospital, they tell me to call her ass. Every time I call her, you disrespect, you not about to disrespect me. Y'all mama's oldest child. Y'all gonna show me some respect. Hey, bro, respect go out the window when you plumb my mama's life. When her life's on the line, her respect go out the window. Ain't no kumbaya, ain't no ifs and buts about it. We not ready to sit right here and play type of games. Where's my mama? What's her room number? What's the motherfucking passcode? Get hung up on. Her daughter called me. You need to calm down and we'll send that to y'all. We gonna meet her at the hospital. They knew I wasn't coming to the hospital. You know why I wasn't going to the hospital? Because after they stole everything, the doorman called me an hour later and told me that they took everything out of my mama's house. That's the only reason I know everything got taken out of my mama's house, because the man who works the front desk called me and told me. Didn't nobody have access to my mama's personal belongings. Her last wide back daughter. I was returning because my mama had cancer the second time, and they thought my mama was with the dad, and they had a chapel, and everybody come, and we went to the chapel and shit. She made her the POA then. And you knew you was been supposed to get removed out that. Because you gave my mama so many broken promises. When you got your little lawsuit, instead of giving my mama her portable oxygen machine, you and your husband travel the world as preachers, eating at the congregation, sucking up your dick and toes. That's what the fuck you did. Went to the hospital. I had my robe and my gun on me. I went on each floor. Understand this. I got locked up that night because I drew my weapon on a security officer for telling me he's going to escort me out of the hospital because y'all playing with my mama right now. I don't know what's going on with my mama. So I'm on the third floor ICU pulling back everybody's curtain. I was almost to my mama until that police officer snatched me up. They OR me and the judge told me, I'm going to let you go because I have a history with you and your mother. And I know how y'all bond is. And I know you're going through it right now because you want answers and nobody's talking to you, but you got to calm down so somebody can talk to you. But Judge Cunningham don't know I've been calm. I've been calm, cool, and collected about this shit. But everybody's playing. Don't nobody know who my mama is. I can't call my daddy because they took him off the visitors list. In the video chat. All my mama's kids. They flipped the camera. My mama sitting on the bed. She got a tube down her throat, and they done performed 3 surgeries on my mama. My mama always said, don't let them cut on me. Do not let them cut on me. Like, I remember them words they play in my head every fucking day, G. Do not let them, don't let them cut on me, bro. She out there has 3 surgeries on my mama. Let them put my mama in an induced coma. Let them paralyze my mama from the neck down and put a tube in her mouth and sit there and give her 24 hours to see if she's going to have a response. What response do y'all want my mama to have, G? I'm paralyzed from the waist down. I got shot. Y'all paralyzed my mama from the neck down and y'all wanted a response from her, bro. I was in the gym, y'all, okay? I've been arguing with family all night since I posted this video.
So part one of the story time, I'm just gonna set the scene of how I found out that my dad had been murdered, in the process of that. So, what all I've known for the past 7 years is this. I get a call on Mother's Day from my little brother, and I think to myself, oh, I should have called my stepmom. I didn't even tell her Happy Mother's Day. She's living in Michigan with my siblings and my dad at the time, and I'm living in Florida by myself. And she calls me, or she gets on the phone, and I tell her Happy Mother's Day. Like, sorry I didn't call. And she just calmly tells me, like, honey, I need to talk to you. Like, I'm obviously on guard at this point, like, what's going on? And she, like, calmly tells me, like, your dad was murdered last night. And I'm confused because, like, what did you just say? You know, so I am super shocked. I am losing my mind. I'm asking a million questions. Who did it? Where was he? What happened? And she tells me, like, we don't know what happened yet. We don't know who did it yet. He was at his house, and he was beat to death with something, and we don't know what. So I have a million thoughts racing through my head at that point. But one of the main things was, where is Amira? Because my little sister, who was 18 at the time, I was 19, she has a history of mental health issues, and we wanted to make sure that she found out, like, surrounded by family. She didn't just find out secondhand, because if she found out on the news or social media, then she's liable to do all sorts of things. So we just were like, no, we need to get to her. Like, you guys got to find her. That was my thought. So she's like, I can't find her. I'm going to have to call the police and ask them to do a welfare check at her friend's house where she was staying. So when she goes to do that, she goes to the police station and does that. She calls me back and is like, they just gave me the number for the detective that's investigating your dad's murder. And I'm like, okay, like, confused. And she says, because I asked them to do a welfare check on Amira. And I'm at that point still confused. And she says, I asked them to go do a welfare check on Amira, and they give me the same number of the homicide detective investigating your dad's murder, and told me if I want information about Amira, I need to call this number. And everything clicks at that point. And she's like, I think Amira had to be involved. Like, she had to be involved. So, of course, we're losing it again. Like, oh my God, like, what is going on? Like, what? So, I just stay up all night. I'm crying. I'm having a hard time. Then the next morning, she calls me again, and we talk for a minute. She's like, how are you handling things? Like, we're planning to have the funeral on the weekend. Like, are you going to be able to make it up here for his funeral? And I'm like, oh, absolutely. Like, I got to figure something out. So so later on that night, she calls me back and lets me know that she did get confirmation that my sister was the murderer and my dad was beat to death in his home the night before Mother's Day with a hammer. So I'm not really knowing what to do with this information. Like, obviously, don't need to keep explaining my reactions because they were bad. I did not take it well. But ultimately, long story short, I did get on a flight. I made it to my dad's funeral, and the first thing I see, after not seeing my family for 3 years, is my dad's twin brother standing over his dead body. So his funeral did not go well. I could not process that well at all. I mean, my siblings were distraught. But I go back to Florida, and I try to, like, carry on with life as best I can. And meanwhile, her case is being tried. She is contacting me from different facilities. Like, she had at one point went to a mental health facility, and while all this is going on, she's calling me. I'm talking to her here and there. I don't feel comfortable asking what actually happened. Why did you do it? I didn't even know how to start that conversation. But while all this is going on, my mom is in the media, like, talking to any reporter that will listen, saying that my sister murdered my dad because my dad fat shamed her. And I am just like, That's impossible. But I still don't have the nerve to ask her. So, so her case finishes up after like 2 years, and she gets 20 to 40 years in prison on a charge that was supposed to be mandatory life, premeditated first-degree murder. In all of the articles that were on the internet, there's an option to comment, and I had to stay away from comments because I know what everybody thought and everybody was thinking. Everybody made sure they vocalized that by making comments about, well, like, what did he do? And, he must have touched her, like things like that. My dad was not ever that kind of man. He would have never in a million years touched her. He was an alcoholic, and he did get physically aggressive and verbally aggressive at times throughout our childhood, but mostly with me. I'm the oldest, and I got a smart mouth. So, not excusing that because, your parents are supposed to be your protectors, but they're also supposed to be your teachers. And now that I'm a parent, I get it. Like, it is hard to have a smart mouth child. My oldest is only 5, but I get it. And I wouldn't put my hands on my kids. Like, I was done, but I understand now that my dad was just a man. Like, he was just a man. He was just human. He did the best he could with what he knew. Like, he thought he was, doing a good job. And my dad was doing a good job. He wasn't perfect, and there were a lot of things that could have been better, but he did not deserve to be murdered by anyone, let alone his children, that anybody who knew him knew, regardless of whatever is going on at any moment, even in our worst times. If you knew my dad, you knew he loved his kids. He loved all of us. Like, he loved us. He would die for us. He would do anything for us. He would kill for us. My dad loved us. There's nothing anybody could tell him about us. So I am just having a hard time still to this day, like, believing, like, what the world. So for the past 7 years, I have been on and off the phone with her. I've been to visit her once. And throughout all this time, I could not work up the nerve to ask her why. And that's all I could think of every single time I spoke to her. Why? Like, why? But I could not ask her. I couldn't, work the nerve up. I could not do it, no matter how bad I wanted to know. So just recently, I did. I worked up the nerve to ask her, and I recorded the call. So I probably will be adding some audio clips in the next video. But if I can figure it out. But yes, I have the full story now. There's a lot of things in the media about what led to it, but ultimately, my dad did not deserve to be murdered, and especially in that way. Like, that was insane. And I don't think I'll ever get over it. I still love my sister, and that is very hard to deal with because if it had been a stranger, I would feel comfortable in my hatred for them. That you kill my dad. But it's my sister, and we have been through a lot, and I still love her, and I always will. So part 2, what actually happened the night that my sister murdered our dad. So, few disclaimers. My dad was an old school black dad raised in the South. He was not okay with my sister being gay. He did not support her sexuality, but he still supported her and loved her as his daughter. He just was very clear and vocal about the fact that he wasn't okay with her being gay. He had a problem with it. And she carried on with her life. So, but my dad was not a just disrespectful, rude person, especially to strangers. And to start, I guess she said a few days before his murder, he my dad called her and my other little sister and invited them over for dinner. He said he was cooking, you know, y'all come on over. We'll make dinner or whatever. Like, y'all come over and eat. And her and her girlfriend being into arguments all the time, she didn't want to just get into another argument by leaving. So she was like, oh, okay, like, I'm about to go to my dad's for dinner. Like, do you want to come? And I guess the girlfriend made a big deal about it and was like, yeah, like, I don't believe you or whatever. She's like, yeah, I want to go. So the girlfriend, my sister, and my two sisters went to my dad's house. My dad, she said he was polite the whole night. He was very respectful and kind to her girlfriend, knowing that it was her girlfriend. And they ended up going home that night and everything was fine. But she went to bed and woke up the next morning to like a bunch of missed calls and voicemails from my dad. Basically like telling her like, how dare you bring this girl into my house? Like, that's so disrespectful. You got a lot of nerve. And she said he was drunk when he was leaving the voicemails, saying like, you know, I'm not cool with all that gay stuff. Like, don't ever disrespect me like that again. Like, you know, so he was pretty upset and just leaving voicemail after voicemail while he was drinking and just going off on her. So she said, like, after that, it was just like, you know, she heard the voicemail and she ignored it, and she was still going through it with her girlfriend, still arguing, still fighting, still not getting along. And she had been a few days. Okay, so a few days goes by, and she's like, I gotta get away from this girl. Like, I just can't do it anymore. She was just too stressed out. And also another disclaimer I meant to add at the beginning was she was on mental health medications. She had mental illnesses. I don't know exactly what all she deals with, but she was on medication. And that year in January, she had just turned 18 and didn't have her things updated with Medicaid for more medication. So she wasn't on her medication at the time. She never went and updated it. She needed to be on it, but she didn't have any refills. She wasn't on medication, so she was unstable, mentally unstable at the time. And she couldn't deal with her girlfriend anymore, I guess. So, and she couldn't find her way back to Indiana at the time. So she was like, I'm just gonna go to daddy's house. Like, I'm just over it. So she ended up asking our little sister, like, hey, can you bring me over to dad's house? Like, we're just not getting along. Things are going well over here. Like, I need to get away from her. And I guess my little sister had to work that night, so she couldn't bring her. And she was just like, okay, well, it's fine. Like, I'll figure something else out. But, you know, I don't remember what she actually said as far as how she got over there. I don't know if she even said anything about how she got over there, but she ended up making her way over there that night. And the night before Mother's Day, she said she knocks on the door and my dad answers, and he has an open beer in his hand, and he is like tipsy. He's not wasted, but he's tipsy. He's drunk a little bit, and he has like 5 or 6 open beer cans on the ground next to the couch that are already empty. And she's just like, oh man, like frustrated already. But I guess he opens the door in a bad mood, saying like, why would you come over without calling first? You don't know if I had somebody over here. You don't know if I was gone. You don't know, what was going on. Why would you just show up to my house without calling first? And from there, I guess she just was quiet. She wasn't really speaking. She was just kind of keeping to herself, ignoring him, or like just not responding to him. And she said she was planning on sleeping on the couch, so that's where she sat down on the couch, and thought he would have went into his room, but I guess he stayed in the living room for what she said was about 2 or 3 hours of him chastising her about being gay, basically. And she said she just was quiet the whole time, let him talk. But after about that 2 or 3 hours, she was getting to the point where she couldn't take it anymore, and she was so fed up that she started talking back. She started responding. And my dad, like I said, very old school black man, he did not play that back talk at any age. So she's 18 and she's like, you know what, I'm 18 years old. You can't tell me how to live. You can't tell me what to do. I don't care about your opinion. I didn't ask for your opinion. I am who I am. I'm going to continue to be this person. So I don't care what you have to say. You can keep all of that to yourself. And I guess my dad, well, understood, like, believably, my dad did not take that well. She said he immediately was pissed that she even said anything at all, let alone responded that way. So he stood up, and I will go more into my childhood later, but the one thing I do want to add is that growing up, me and my dad fought a lot, like verbally from a young age to me getting into my teens and physically fighting, because either he would be drunk, I would be rebellious, just a mixture of like, just, I don't know. It did not work out. We were the worst combo. And I've always had a smart mouth, and I feel like I always have to defend myself. So even when it wasn't necessary, I always had to have the last word, give some sort of explanation, always back talking. And it, as a mom now, is frustrating. I get it. But back then, I was just hard-headed. I was not trying to hear that. I felt like I knew better than him. He really couldn't tell me nothing. I don't know. But the rest of my siblings actually were all really like more reserved. They didn't really get in trouble very often. My dad rarely even had to raise his voice at them or anything like that. He definitely never really put his hands on them. I think probably out of all my siblings, they've gotten a whooping like once each. I mean, probably a couple times more, but really, like, I can count on one hand how many times each of them have gotten whooped. Versus me, it was like on a every day to every week basis. I'm fighting, I'm getting whoopings, I'm getting yelled at, and I was the oldest of my dad's kids. So even if it didn't have anything to do with me, if they were getting in trouble for something, like, I always had to like insert myself, and just because like, no, like, at that point I'm like, I'm not scared of you, like, you're not, you know, you're not scaring me. I am not afraid to fight you. I'm not afraid to talk back to you, and they are gonna respect you, and they're gonna be quiet and let you, you know, chastise them and be this way. And that was not my place as a child to intervene in my parent trying to parent. But I always had to be center of attention in the worst ways. And I've grown. I know better now. And I can look back and like understand that. Like, I'm not afraid to admit that. But because of that, she had to see a lot of me getting hit, or me hitting my dad. A lot of the drama in the house while he was drunk had to do with me in our childhood. So she was like emotionally scarred from seeing that, I guess. And she said when he stood up, after she talked back, when he stood up, she just panicked and said, like, you're not gonna put your hands on me. She was like, you got in my face like you used to try to get in yours. And all I could think was, he's not gonna put his hands on me. So she picked up a hammer that was propped up on the side of the couch and stood up with him and just beat him to death. Like, swung one time, it hit him in his head, he hit the floor. I think the medical examiner said that he was dead after the second or third swing. But she beat him with the nail side of the hammer a total of 45 times. So,
Whoa. Whoa, that's a lot.
so part two.
That's a lot. She beat her dad 45 times with the hammer. Ooh, that's a lot. Want me to lie? Wow, that's a lot.
Take it as a sign, 'cause what is
Put a finger down if I'm